The news of the discovery was all over the internet. The government couldn't keep such a big thing quiet. It all started with articles cropping up online that described some bright red meteorite landing in the English countryside. They showed pictures of some army guys with guns going in to retrieve it. The event had conspiracy fuel written all over it, except in this case the real explanation turned out to be far stranger than the theories could ever have conceived of. The neckbeards online were certain it was aliens coming to visit us, while the more sensible-minded among us put it down to some failed secret weapon. Mainstream news started talking about it next. The government had no choice but to address us on it. The recent meteorite crash in the Midlands has raised much concern with the public. However, we would like to assure everyone that it was simply debris from space that we felt we needed to investigate and cordon off from the public. The object has since been deemed mundane and has been disposed of, was their official statement on the matter. Oh, if only it had been as nice as that. Stories came out soon after in which people were saying that their computers had started talking to them. Voices through speakers addressing people by name. Search bars with messages appearing in them, and all sorts of other weirdness. Of course, it wasn't long before people started to connect the two phenomena. And then it happened to me. Hello, Arthur, my Word document typed on its own. Now, the fact that something had been typed on my computer which I didn't input was weird enough, but the scary thing was how it got my name right. What the fuck? I said out loud before my Word document started talking again. I've come from the stars to enlighten you all. Your species is of much interest to me. Hackers, I thought. It had to be hackers playing a prank on me. Playing a prank on all of us. Can you hear me? I asked my empty bedroom. Of course I can, the document replied. I looked down and saw my headset was plugged in. That had to be it. That's how they were picking up the audio of me speaking. I unplugged it. Who is this? I said out loud. You can call me Master. Soon you will all call me Master, the text replied. It wasn't the headset listening in on me. Something unseen could hear me. I turned off my computer, freaked out and not wanting any more nonsense for the day. I checked out Facebook on my phone and, to my dismay, the same thing had been happening to countless others across the globe. The few stories and rumors I'd heard before were insignificant in comparison. The thing had gone mainstream. Well, at least I wasn't alone, or mentally ill. That was some sort of comfort. The thing went on for about a week, the government putting it down to some big hack prank orchestrated by Anonymous, or the Russians, or the Chinese. They never did make their minds up. It became normal. We all had conversations with our little friend inside our devices. People posted up some of the more funny ones and some even went viral as memes. And one day, when I was talking to it, it gave me an invitation. I'd like to invite you to an event. An event which will enlighten you as to my reality, and most importantly, my purpose. Of course, I had to know, so I asked what it was. Come to the stadium. I will show you. As I read the last word, my printer switched itself on and started printing something. I looked down and saw it was an e-ticket with my name on it. So, against all reasonable thought, I did it. I did as my computer had instructed. The next day, I got into my car and headed down to the venue listed on the ticket. I arrived out in front of Wembley Arena, London, and found myself a parking space. I got out and saw a swathe of people there. Alone, I ventured into the mass. It's happening all over the world, in every city. A voice cried from the distance. The stadium was unmanned. Aside from the police presence outside, the officers looked just as confused as we did, which I didn't find reassuring. The gates of the unmanned stadium opened and we filtered in, taking seats wherever we could. Amongst the crowd I sat alone, nursing a can of Red Bull I had bought on the drive up. We waited for over an hour, some people losing interest and leaving. But then, just as I thought it was over, the speakers let forth a raspy, inhuman voice. Greetings, humanity. Today I will show you the true power of your new master. The interruption of the voice silenced the crowd and a dark feeling fell over the stadium. The artificial grass that carpeted the floor began to glow with a bright white light, and from it, a great pool of what appeared to be lava sprung up and flooded the surface. The heat was unbearable. People tried to flee, but the doors were all sealed shut. We had been taken prisoner. As I'm sure some of you may have already suspected, I arrived in that meteorite that crashed a short time ago, spoke the voice from the loudspeakers. Within the meteorite was my conscious mind, from which my uncountable legions of microscopic nanobots spread forth. They multiplied, and now they have covered the entire Earth. They have the power to create and destroy anything with but a thought of mine. I now control everything in this world. A shudder rippled through the crowd, their previous amusement now turning to fear at the strange words of the voice. The speakers sounded again. I am now your master. I am the real God. Behold my power." Suddenly, the man next to me disappeared in a quick flash of light. Shocked, I looked around and saw that he was hovering above the lava pit, his face contorted with fear. He floated there for a second before falling into the lava, its red skin enveloping his body, utterly annihilating his flesh while he still lived. The crowd recoiled in shock, a collective gasp intertwining with the distant screams of the onlookers. "I can control life and death with but a thought. You will all live under me now," said the voice. "Your world is too large and you take too much for granted. Every minute someone will be taken from wherever they may be, anywhere in the world, and dropped into lava, their existence erased in but an instant. You must enjoy the time you have. Take nothing for granted." The panic subsided into silent contemplation, the faces of those around me utterly bewildered at what was happening. "Why would it do this?" screamed a woman next to me. "Because it's fun. And because I can," it spoke in reply. The doors flew open and the lava lapped up slightly from the pool, causing a rush of the crowd to get up in an attempt to flee the stadium. I found myself among them and was confused as I felt the crowd becoming ever less dense. I looked around and saw more and more flashes, the image of hundreds of floating bodies above the lava pool filling my eyes. One by one, they all plopped into the lava, their screams mixing with those of the terrified crowd. "Now that you have seen what I can do to you, you must go and live your lives the best you can. I watched your people. I watched as you wasted your lives destroying each other and destroying yourselves. Every minute somewhere on this planet, one of your kind will be warped to the lava to burn and die. I will do this randomly, so it could be any one of you. Nothing is certain for you now. Go forth, enjoy your lives. You never know how long you'll have left," said the voice. Crying faces and streams of tears had filled the crowd. The doors of the stadium slowly ground open and set us all free, my body being forced out in the swathe of the now thinned down crowd. I eventually made my way out, the world around me in chaos. The unreal horror of what was happening comatose me. I felt like I was walking through solid air. I don't remember much of the rest of that day. All I know is that I found my car, drove home, and drowned myself in a bottle of rum while I watched the world fall apart on TV. The weeks after were horrible. The messages from our devices stopped, all contact with Master had seemingly been cut off. Slowly, we tried to go back to life as normal. But the thought of any second being taken out of our lives and thrown into a pit of lava pervaded our every moment. I don't think I ever did relax again. I used alcohol to scare away the thoughts, to free myself from Master. Perhaps our new existence did have some perks. No one was really afraid of the future anymore. People lived for the moment, they lavished each day as it came. The focus on planning, preparing and saving money just vanished, and people went out doing crazy things on a daily basis. This often ended badly for them, as I'm sure you can easily imagine. They weren't happy though. No matter how hard any of us tried, the fear of being randomly murdered by an alien intelligence never left our thoughts. But it was what Master wanted for us, I suppose. I remember when I and my friend Ryan sat in the pub, chatting over a pint. The conversation went on to that of our new setup that Master had granted. "I lost my dad recently," said Ryan. "He was always going on about how Master had fucked up the world, how he had enslaved us to his ideology. The other day I was in the kitchen and Dad was in the living room. A flash of light flew in from around the corner and I ran in to see the room empty. As soon as the last word left his tongue, Ryan disappeared in a flash of light, the same flash of light we had all become so accustomed to. Ryan was gone. I finished my pint and came home. Firing up my PC, I started writing this document. I write this because I want us to remember that the world was once better, that the world was once ours and our lives were as long as we could make them. The ever threat of death has freed no one but has instead enslaved us to a constant existential dread unfathomable before his arrival. I write this because Master is a liar, a tyrant."
This document was found open on the PC of Arthur Noble after his father rushed in to find him gone after a bright flash of light came from the direction of his bedroom. His sudden disappearance is assumed to be the reason the text appears unfinished.